We're going to start the show as, unfortunately, we've had to do a number of times this year in 2025 on a bit of a sad note.
Yeah.
Because yesterday, on August 11th, the world of entertainment in general, but especially black entertainment, lost another one of their smiles in Danielle Spencer, the star of What's Happening, sitcom from the 70s.
70s.
It's a character DEE.
Yeah.
Passed away at the age of 60 years young. Yesterday, August 11th. Danielle Spencer, who was Dr. Danielle Spencer. Let's give her her propers. She earned her doctorate in veterinary medicine.
She was a vet. She sure was.
In 1993. Had been living with her mother for the last few years. To hear her brother tell it in a lot of the stories, she was a loving soul. Had some health issues that she had to deal with. That finally got the best of her. But really was a bright star when she hit the airwaves in the 70s on What's Happening at the age of 9 years old.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She was really young.
I know.
You look at those that first season of, and the early part of the first season.
Yeah, right.
Because this was back when, I think it was like 20, 25 episodes.
At least I think maybe like 26.
Right. Like by the end of the season, you could see her getting older.
Right.
That's
because what they would do, they would film them in batches.
Right.
So you would really see like she turned from a young little girl. But even then, and it wasn't so much like there have been child stars forever.
Of course.
Right? But unlike someone as akin to, let's say, Gary Coleman or Emmanuel Stewart, who definitely had their talent, there was a precociousness about them, and that's what got them over.
Right.
Danielle Spencer as Dee, she was adorable. She was adorable. But you could also see the light in her. This was a star. This was a smart, brilliant, young woman or girl on screen who was just as nobody was feeding her lines. She had impeccable comic timing on that show. And she was so much the star of the show that when they tried to bring back What's Happening, she came back as a special guest star.
Yeah.
Because she was like, look.
Really disturbing episode.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We don't need to talk about What's Happening now because it happened then.
Right.
But What's Happening was she was the star. Like there was Rerun and then there was Dee. They were the stars of that show.
You know what I thought differentiated her from you just mentioned him, Gary Coleman, Emmanuel Lewis.
Yeah, I think Emmanuel Lewis, yeah.
I'll even throw Janet Jackson on there when she was on
okay.
Times.
Okay.
You always got the sense with the first two, definitely, and certainly to a certain extent with Janet Jackson, although I think arguably Janet Jackson maybe grew into the role a little bit. I never got the sense that Emmanuel Lewis nor Gary Coleman were actually part of the ensemble. Like you could tell everyone was kind of setting them up for their moment.
Okay.
And then everyone just sort of backed away, let them have their moment, and then people kind of come back in.
Okay.
The thing I always liked about Danielle Spencer is she actually interacted. Like as much as you talk about her with her brother,
Raj. Ernest Thomas.
I actually thought she did really well with Mabel King.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I feel about Mabel King. So the fact that you could have this child with Mabel King, already a seasoned actress.
Yes.
And it work.
Well, what worked about it was because, and I think this is what is the lasting legacy of What's Happening and why it is so well remembered. this show really, the reboot aside, it only lasted 3 seasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, mind you, like you said, this was back when they were doing like 20-something shows.
Yeah, I think it's 70
season.
episodes. You know my thing. It's more episodes of what's happening than like almost Game of Thrones. Like I think Game of Thrones has more episodes, but like maybe 6 more episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And in those 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why it's so well remembered is because that cast, they felt authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Raj, Rerun, Dwayne, they felt like they were actually 3 friends that lucked up and got this job on this show.
Right.
Raj, Mabel King, and Danielle Spencer as Dee. They felt like a family.
Well, my read of what's happening, why it kind of fascinates me. It was a show that wasn't actually about anything.
No, it wasn't.
It very rarely had.
There was no high concept to it.
A plot like we all talk about the Doobie Brothers episodes,
yeah,
because that was one of the few episodes that had like this really plot-driven thing going on.
Yeah,
because usually it was them just sort of hanging out, and as you said. And to be clear, I'm not trying to oversell what's happening.
No, no one is.
It's not the first season of Homicide, but it was pleasant. It popped. It moved. As you mentioned, it's a bunch of young actors who interacted well with each other, and for a show that didn't have a plot, that wasn't as plot heavy, I think the fact that it does have this sort of place in Black pop culture speaks to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, you can try and brush it aside if you want, but also when I think about Danielle Spencer, I think about the episode of What's Happening Now, where she comes back and her and Dwayne start dating.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's so weird, and no one talks about how weird it is.
Yeah, it is. It is weird. It is weird. It is weird. I mean, this kind of thing happens, though.
No,
it does.
No. I'm sorry. I know it happens. Nobody wants to talk about it.
That's true. That's the thing.
Like, I need to know what was going on in the writer's room where somebody said, you know what we should do? Danielle Spencer is coming back. We have to make it special because it's Danielle Spencer. What if she started dating Dwayne and no one in the room said, yeah, we shouldn't do that. No one's going to like that at all.
Yeah, it wasn't a good call.
It wasn't.
It wasn't a good call.
It wasn't.
Mostly because she could do better.